Hey guys, Paul again from Meldrum Performance Coaching and the Complete Personal Trainer podcast. So today's episode, we're going through more stuff from the book, Ultimate Body Transformation Expert. We're up to the mindset part. So just to recap, again, this series is all about recapping everything I've learned in the last year and how I've improved upon the principles in my book. As I've said before, if you are getting better, and as a trainer, you should keep on changing things slightly as you find better ways and best practice. So the first mindset principle that I talked about in the book was the most important relationship for body composition, which is a person's relationship with food. So a person's relationship with food, it's probably the longest lasting relationship most people will ever have. It'll start from the very first time they eat, as soon as they're born, and to the last meal you have before you die. So it's a relationship that can influence so much. It's a relationship that goes for so long, and it's something that's so important for us to be able to help our clients have. So some of the things I talked about in the book as a summary is, the first thing is, if we help someone have a really good relationship with food, they're going to find it really easy to have optimal body composition over the lifespan. It's really simple. If someone doesn't use food for emotional solace and things of that nature, they won't eat when they're down, or they won't overeat when they're down, and they won't use food to compensate and to deal with stuff. The other thing is also, in the book I talked about difference between eating disorders and disordered eating being a diagnosis, and eating disorders are strictly within the realms of a mental health and wellness professional. So you'll need someone with a degree basically who will do that, psychologists, psychiatrists, etc. We need to make sure that we remember our scope of practice as a PT and we're working with people in the way that we should. So some of the things I talked about in the book as signs of a healthy relationship with food, being in tune with your own unique physiological needs, food's not being judged on its inherent moral value, so there's no good or bad food. It's not overthought or underthought about, like it's not something you never think about. It's not something that you think about all day long. It's not used for emotional comfort. You can distinguish between hunger, thirst, and boredom. Cravings are controlled and you eat until you're satisfied physically. And the signs of disordered eating are things like restriction and control, routines and rules, anxiety and avoidance, binging, compensation and bargaining, judgment, disassociation, external locus of control, and the cognitive dichotomy. So basically going back and forth, like, oh, if I restrict now, I can binge later, etc. So, and in the book I talk about using strategies around mindfulness, the food journal, example, impact, change, and ready, willing, and able to help our clients in that framework. So with people's attitude towards food and their relationship with food, what I've found over the last year of working with clients is it's very, very complex, and there's lots of things going on that will affect it. So in terms of actually helping people have a better relationship with food, again, coming back to the habit-based and sustainable approach and what I talked about with no dogma, it's actually giving people an education alongside this at the same time. So one of the biggest things I found with improving someone's relationship is also improving their nutritional literacy. So basically repeating exactly what I had in the other podcast, the more educated clients become, the better relationship becomes, because they start to understand the negative impacts more. The way that we go about this, though, is a little bit different. So I haven't gone back to the old school way of coaching nutrition that I used to do, where I just regurgitate facts about nutrition and tell clients exactly what was going on and how many calories this had and how that affects your digestion and blah, 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 blah. Rather, it's about giving clients resources to look it up for themselves, membership sites, videos, etc. like that, to help educate them a little bit more about their choices. So it's about creating those moments of change, those moments of recognition for our clients that, yes, this food, if eaten a lot of the time, will have a negative impact when had occasionally. It can be a very helpful addition to the diet. So with the relationship with food, it's now starting to also take the multifactorial approach that is needed for health. So what would be called deep health model, which is, I've talked about that podcast number, I talked about it a while ago, I'm pretty sure about it. It's in my mentoring program. But anyway, deep health is basically all the different things that count for health, which is like social health, psychological health, financial health. All these things all fit together. So when looking at food choices and people's relationship with food, we need to look at it in relation to all those other things. So educating our clients that one bad day isn't going to totally derail their progress, and one bad day can actually be quite beneficial for someone psychologically and help them get back on track. So an example of this is, particularly with this last year, people have been isolated, people have been restricted, they haven't seen people, they haven't had the same degree of interaction. So when restaurants and cafes opened, telling people to actually go out with their friends and eat and have like a really delicious meal with all foods that they haven't had in a long period of time, and actually really enjoy that, maybe a couple of glasses of wine, etc., to allow them to have that psychological benefit, has been more important than worrying about what their calories are. The best example of improving a client's relationship with health that I've had in the last year is working with a client who, as I said in the previous podcast, went away for a week, 2 weeks, and ate out every single meal and maintained her weight. Throughout that time, what I didn't say in the podcast before is that, yes, she did have the nutritional knowledge now to be able to work out approximately what calories and how much food she could eat. She also was able to start recognizing things like hunger signals, fullness, boredom, etc. All of those different factors that contribute to overeating. So for her, it was actually a really simple process for us to be able to go there. I didn't actually have to do any coaching whatsoever while she was away, which was convenient for me, convenient for her, I guess. She did the right thing, followed me up. Nothing has changed in body composition, so that's an absolute win. So with people's relationship with food, it's not just looking at making sure that people don't eat for emotional solace and all that kind of stuff. It's also about now recognizing the other aspects of health that food contributes to, recognizing that eating for body composition doesn't always naturally lead to the best choices for psychological health when people are eating out and hanging out with friends, and how for most people that doesn't actually make an iota of difference for their results. It just gives them the opportunity to do something that's actually fun and enjoyable, and to spend some time with their friends and be more healthy overall. So summary, relationship with food, it's not just looking at the individual, it's looking at inter-individual and relationships with people, which are really, really important for overall health, and how their relationship with food for that can actually then contribute to their relationship with food when they are by themselves, and create a more complete and holistic approach for health. So guys, thanks for listening. Please rate the podcast. I don't ever ask this. Rate the podcast. Say that you're listening to it on Instagram. Tag me in it. It all helps out. We've had way more listeners this year already than expected. We've gone up we've increased it 5 times over the listener or viewership this year so far, which is amazing. I don't even know how. But if people could put it on, rate it on Spotify or iTunes, share it on Instagram, etc., and tag me in it, it would be much appreciated. Thanks heaps, guys. Speak soon.